All right, here we go. Episode 103 of the Daily Puck Drop here, pucksports.com. And it's Friday, May 17th. And we wake up this morning and I flip on Twitter and I'm like, well, I want to go see like what's going on in the world. And I'd like to go see what's going on in golf, PGA Championship. I have a very keen interest in one particular golfer. His name's Scottie Scheffler because I took him in my golf league, and I kind of need Scottie Scheffler to be good. And then I wake up, I flip it on, I see Scottie Scheffler in an orange jumpsuit. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? When I saw that he was arrested, I was like, oh my God. Like this image, what did he do? Like drunk driving, some type of spousal abuse. Like, what did Scottie Scheffler do? Because we have created this image of him to be almost, pristine and perfect and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, all the details come out and what happened and the tragedy of a worker there who lost his life because they were hit by a hospitality bus or by a bus that was transferring people. And then Scottie was trying to get around that traffic. It was early in the morning. It was dark. There was confusion. And then all hell has broken loose. It is the Daily Puck Drop. My name is Jason Puckett. You can always, of course, find us anywhere, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you find your podcasts. Of course, pucksports.com. We do this every single day, about a half an hour. We give you the latest, the greatest in all of the world of sports. But I believe this is the first time on the Daily Puck Drop, episode 103, that we have ever talked about a golfer being arrested on day 2 of a major championship. I mean, it's unbelievable. ESPN reporter Jeff Darlington. You guys probably know Jeff. He's been doing more golf this year, but he's normally their NFL reporter. Jeff Darlington was, I think, the car or two in front of Scottie Scheffler. And so when he saw what was going on, he immediately jumped out of his car and turned into a reporter. Kind of slash reporter, but also slash, hey, officers, do you know who that is? Like, are you aware of what he's trying to do? So Darlington, for him, in the absolute right place, best place, at the exact right time to detail all this. He went on, as ESPN was starting their coverage on ESPN Plus, he went on to ESPN and detailed what he witnessed there with Scottie Scheffler.
We witnessed a car pull around us that was Scottie Scheffler was in the car. To be very clear about the details here, Scottie Scheffler has been detained by police officers, placed in the back of a police vehicle in handcuffs after he tried to pull around what he believed to be security, ended up being police officers. They told him to stop. When he didn't stop, the police officer attached himself to the vehicle. Scheffler then traveled another 10 yards before stopping the car. The police officer then grabbed at his arm, attempting to pull him out of the car before Scheffler eventually opened the door, at which point the police officer pulled Scheffler out of the car, pushed him up against the car, and immediately placed him in handcuffs. Scheffler was then walked over to the police car, placed in the back in handcuffs, very stunned about what was happening, looked toward me as he was in those handcuffs and said, "Please help me." He very clearly did not know what was happening in the situation.
He's being arrested
very quickly, very rapidly, very aggressively. He was detained in that police vehicle for approximately 20 minutes. The police officers at that point did not understand that Scottie Scheffler was a golfer in the tournament, nor, of course, that he is the number 1 player in the world.
What if he was? What if they said, "Well, what's your ranking?" Well, I'm the 105th player in the world. Yeah, you're going to the Hooskow, but hey, the number 1 player in the world, you are good to go. I'm not shocked that they didn't know who he was. He's a golfer. I love golf. You're probably watching this and listening to this, and you love golf. There's a lot of people out there that don't love golf. Okay, So they have no idea who Scottie Scheffler is. I don't. I mean, I'm fascinated by the story. The police report is come out. I mean, how they detail in the police report, it's like he was dragging the police officer for 10, 15 yards, as Jeff Darrington kind of reports there. Darlington reports there that it's more of not so much like in depth in those details. Just it doesn't seem like it was all that bad, but I don't know. I mean, none of us, unless there's more eyewitnesses that eventually will come out and tell everyone what happened. Uncharacteristic of Scottie Scheffler to be involved in anything like this. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to come down on the officer. There's a lot of people that are going to come down on Scottie Scheffler. Scheffler maintains that he didn't know he was a police officer, that he was in that green or bright green jacket. He just thought he was a security person, and he was told which is backed up by people on the PGA Tour. He was told, hey, if there are any traffic incidents at all or backups, you are allowed to bounce around and kind of tell people who you are, and they should let you through. For those who don't know, these golfers, they're not in just some like rental car from Hertz. They all get these like official golf courtesy cars, usually like they're nice cars, Buicks, Mercedes-Benz, whatever. And it's got like all the PGA Championship, the logos of the tournament on the side of it. Normally, these guys should have like credentials or badges or something. I'm not sure if he showed him a badge or showed him any type of identification to let them know he was a golfer. I don't think that would have mattered. I mean, this wasn't like the traffic was backed up. There was a fatality. It's a crime scene at that point. I mean, they've got to keep people. They got to keep people out of there. So, and I don't know, did Scheffler even know? And I don't know. I'm trying to read it and read as much as I can. I'm not sure if Scheffler even knew what had transpired there. Did he know of it? Maybe he did and was still trying to get around it. But what a wild scene. And I will say this of you folks on Twitter, God damn, you are funny. You are some funny sons of bitches, man. Because the memes and the GIFs and the videos that have come out of Scottie Scheffler, one in the orange jumpsuit with also him wearing the green jacket. Perfect. That's all of it. And the guy goes out there. So he gets arrested. There's a mugshot of him. Whoever thought you'd have on your bingo card in 2024, the world's #1 player, the guy that is getting compared a lot right now to Tiger Woods. Now he's got this in his back pocket that he can be compared to Tiger Woods because now they've both been arrested and they have mugshots. Now Tiger's was a little bit different, okay? Just a tad different. But he's on this dominant run. He played well in the first round. You know he's going to make a charge on Friday. He'll make another charge on Saturday. And anyone that bet on Xander Schauffele knows this. You Xander Schauffele bettors out there. He's going to fall apart on the weekend. Okay, he just is. It's going to happen, and that Scheffler guy is going to be right there. And so he's going to put together probably another good round today, probably a little solid round. He birdied the first hole as we're recording this, and so he's looked sharp. I think he birdied the third hole as well, third or fourth hole, in addition to that. But the guy goes from a mugshot, to being arrested, thrown in jail, mugshot, and then gets released, gets his tee time pushed, heads to the driving range and is pounding balls. And then goes to the first tee. He gets this amazing ovation at the first tee. There are people there who have already, two guys I saw on X, who have already taken his mugshot and have made t-shirts out of it. How does someone do that so quickly? How do you get a mugshot a few hours ago and already get it on a t-shirt? So just a wild scene there at Valhalla. And we'll see more the aftermath. I can't wait for the post-round press conference and media briefing with Scottie Scheffler. If he's in contention, what if he wins this thing? What is that going to be like? Who runs out on the green? Does the officer run out on the green and arrest him one more time? What's the post-round interview like if he wins on Sunday and hosts the Wanamaker Trophy? Who does he thank? The police department? I mean, I've never seen anything like this in sports. Never where a guy has been arrested, mugshot, and then like 2 hours later is playing. I don't know. I can't think of anything else. Eugene Robinson, would that be it? I guess Eugene would be the closest thing. That was was Eugene the night before the Super Bowl? Yeah, wasn't he? The night before the Super Bowl. And he was what was he? The Walter Payton Man of the Year. Then he got busted for soliciting a prostitute. And then the day later is playing in the Super Bowl for the Falcons. Jesus. What a story. I'm telling you, that's a Good Friday story. Shout out to Scottie Scheffler, all right? People's champion. And I bet on him. So I really do need Scottie Scheffler to kind of come through for this guy this weekend. I don't know. I love golf anyways, but for you casual golf fans who maybe weren't going to pay attention to the PGA Championship, it will probably, not probably, it will go down if he goes on to win. The first time in PGA Tour history that a criminal has won a major, like within 48, 72 hours. That's a first. That, we're trying to unite golf, right? Live, PGA. This is something that should unite golf, right? A man arrested, mugshot, and now PGA champion raising the Wanamaker Trophy. All right, over to baseball. BetM's under summer continues. They did not have a game yesterday, so they survived. All right, no game, nothing to lose. The total in the game tonight is 8 at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. And you're wondering, what the hell are you guys talking about? Well, I decided long ago that I was going to bet on the under for every single Mariners game because they weren't scoring runs, and then they were holding all of their opponents to under their run total as well. So we said, hey, damn it, let's just go. This pitching staff is great. Offense can't score, so we're going to bet the under on everything. Got off to a great start, hit a speed bump, but we're back on a 2-game winning streak. 6-8-1 currently on the BetM's under summer tour. Bryce Miller will get the ball today for Seattle as they start a 3-game series with the Orioles. 3-3 with a 2.66 ERA. John Means, the left-hander for Baltimore, will get the start. This will be, I believe, his third start of the year. 3.09 ERA. Great test here for the Mariners in this 3-game series with Baltimore because clearly what stirs their drink is their pitching staff and how damn good their pitching staff is. Well, now they're going to encounter the best offense in the American League from a statistical standpoint. They are leaders in runs. They lead the American League in home runs. They lead the American League in slugging percentage and second in OPS. And they've got 3 horses going. Baltimore will miss Logan Gilbert, but you get Miller, Castillo, and then George Kirby on Sunday. But just a great test for the Mariners. And for that matter, great test for the Orioles. 2, I don't want to say relatively young teams because I don't Seattle's not young. Baltimore is young. But 2 teams that are trying to ascend to the top of the American League, right? Trying to replace kind of the old guard, that old guard being kind of Houston has dominated for so long, but they are trying to assert themselves back in the top of the American League. Now, they both have gone through rebuilds. Now, the Orioles, theirs was an actual rebuild because they were literally just tearing down the entire team and just said to themselves and said to their fan base, we're not going to try and win. We are going to try and get top draft picks. And then hopefully we'll take the path that Houston took. And then we'll be, a few years. We got all this young talent, be ready to roll. Well, they got all that young talent right now, and they're kind of ready to roll. They don't got to spend big money on anybody right now because all their talent, for the most part, they've hit on all their draft picks. Certainly have a great hit rate with it. And then the Mariners are in that boat with some young talent, but they didn't really truly tear it down and rebuild. They did what was Jerry's line? They reimagined their roster. So fun to see kind of 2 of the teams that are not the normal teams that we've seen here in the past, 5-6 years in the American League, go at it here in a 3-game series in Baltimore, one of the best ballparks there in Major League Baseball. Adley Rutschman, we get the Adley Rutschman and Julio comp again for our guy Ben Nicholson Smith. Shout out, Ben. If you're watching here the next 3 days, we'll see how your guy Adley does. The Orioles are on what is the streak? They're on some crazy streak. I think it dates back to last year, where they have not been swept in a series, which is amazing. Like the Adley Rutschman just the other day had a walk-off home run in order to prevent them from getting swept there the other night. So for the Orioles, which is just kind of remarkable that they've been able to avoid it. How the hell have you been able to avoid it? It's nuts. Speaking so the Mariners and Orioles tonight, and then it's on to New York, and then it's on to Washington. I'll say this about the Mariners as they sit here in first place in the American League West, and we chatted about this on Wednesday's show. We had Divish on and we had Brad Adam on, and I asked those guys, I'm like, are you surprised kind of where they're at right now? And both acknowledge that they are surprised that they are first place in the American League West. Not surprised with the record, and I would tend to agree with that. Like the record-wise, like this is kind of where they should be. Maybe even closer a little bit to 500 because the offense has scuffled so much, but their pitching is so damn dominant. I didn't start off dominant, but it has turned into that after they got through that first, week and 10 days of the season. But yeah, I am surprised that they're sitting here. I mean, I thought Texas would be at a better record. I certainly didn't think Houston. I think most people will agree. We didn't think Houston would be as bad as they are. They seem you're just waiting for them to kind of turn the corner, but it doesn't feel like they're going to turn the corner in their season. The question now is what kind of summer are the Mariners going to produce for their fan base? What does ownership want out of this summer? And we're going to harp on something that we've been harping on for a long, long time. And we'll just use the own words of their ownership group and their front office that 2024 was the year they were all in. That was their words. They were all in on 2024. In fact, they said it last year, they were all in. But they said to you that the rebuild, the reimagining is all over. That this is the team that we believe that we have assembled, and this was a few years ago. This was the team at this moment in 24 was the team that would be championship quality, that can go out there, get us to a World Series, and win the World Series. And I would just ask you, you guys watch these guys every single night, listen to them every single night. How close are they to actually winning it? And I'm curious to hear the reaction because of, and you can leave a comment below on YouTube, is pitching wise, there is no doubt that if these guys get in a series, they are just dominant and will match up against anyone. You take them in any series, these guys. Can their offense, which is again the broken record year after year with these guys, can their offense sustain it enough in order to make up for a bad start here and there? Can they do it? The glass half empty fan in me, I'm just still so down on the offense because they show flashes, but it's just consistently inconsistent is kind of the best way to put the offense. It starts with the top player, just hasn't had a good year so far. Hopefully he heats up and gets going. I know he's hitting the ball hard, but he's just not playing all that well. You know, now injuries are starting to pile up a little bit. You know, Garver's been out, Polanco's been out. Hell, JP was supposed to come back for this series. Then he gets knocked on the hand in a rehab start with the Rainiers. So his return is delayed. One thing that they cannot sustain and how they put this team and constructed this team together was they could not sustain any type of injuries to these new players that they acquired, who, by the way, had a history of injuries when they acquired them because they say this all the time. I know it's just annoying to hear, but they just walk that razor edge, right? That fine line of every single game for them is decided, it feels like, by a run or two. And over a course of 162 games, I mean, the mental drain on these guys has got to be immense. You know, we brought up yesterday, pause for a sip of coffee. We brought up yesterday the the workload of Andres Munoz. Again, I mean, he is trending to throw more innings than he's ever thrown in his career. It's not just the innings, though, because if you look like through the first 17 games, he's thrown a little over 18. I think it's 18 and a third. Last year, I think at this point, he was at 16. So it's not like it's a gross amount. Look at the pitches, though, but look at the number of multiple innings he's already pitched. And I brought it up yesterday. It's 7. It's already 7 times they've used him for more than an inning. And last year, now I'm going to forget. Was it last year was twice? Maybe I think last year was once. They don't have anybody else down in that bullpen besides Munoz and Spire right now. That's it. That's why I think Bill Kruger brought up the idea the other day with Brian Wu. Throw Brian Wu in there. It's not a permanent solution. It's not that you're saying that, hey, man, he's not going to be a starter for the long haul, but they do need some help in the bullpen. They need help everywhere. And it's crazy to say that, and yet there's still 4 games over 500. That's potentially how good that they can be. They can be a World Series contender, but it is on ownership and front office to go out and make that happen. I think the players have done a good job right now of keeping everything afloat, mitigating the injuries, mitigating the slow start. They've been benefited from poor play in their division, but their pitching now is living up to the hype. But it is imperative of that group who spends the money on this team and the player and the management that goes out and acquires this to go find them some help. I don't want to be sitting here, and neither do you, at the end of the trade deadline, or we get into September, and you've maintained this same team. I just don't want to hear a press conference again where they come out and go, well, we like where this team is at right now. We didn't want to disrupt the continuity of this ball club, like they said, last year and 2 years ago. No, you need to. They want it. They deserve it. Cal Raleigh deserves it. JP deserves it. Mitch Haniger deserves it. All these guys deserve it. Every one of them. And so when they get to the deadline, they have got to be proactive in finding a bat, maybe 2, but let's just start with 1. Let's not get greedy, although I would like to be greedy. Let's get 1. They have got to find some bullpen help as well. I don't think anybody should bet on Gregory Santos ever coming back. I think we're going to find out in July, whenever they're going to reevaluate him, that they're going to shut him down. Ultimately, may have surgery, may not, but I wouldn't depend on him. But they owe it to you. They owe it to you, all of them. John Stanton, Chris Larson, Jerry DiPoto, Justin Hollander. They owe it to you. They owe it to themselves as well, really. I think ultimately, at the end of the day, they need to look in the mirror. They owe it to themselves. For Justin and Jerry, I think for what how they were handcuffed, I think financially, I think they should in a way be applauded what they were able to put together this year, just because they didn't have any really resources, but they bought low. This is what happens when you buy cheap, because you buy damaged parts. And so far it feels like they've bought some damaged parts from a few players. And I mean, knock on wood, but it's a miracle Mitch Haniger's still playing. The amount that they have run him out there every single day. I'll say it again. And I don't get why he doesn't have a first baseman glove. I just don't understand it. And don't tell me that every position's hard to learn. He's a good athlete. He's a good baseball player. Perry Hill, anyone can get him over there and get a glove on him. But why they are not doing that is just beyond me. It makes 0 sense. I know they got Rayleigh over there. That's fine. Yeah, it's good. Let Rayleigh play there. France is obviously there. Garver can do it, but he's not healthy. Why would you not have as many options as possible over there? His defense is not elite to where you need him in right field. He's not athletic. He's older. And every time you run him out in right field, you risk him getting injured. So just give him a big glove. I'm pretty sure he can catch it. All right? I'm pretty sure. Okay, so that's the Mems. We should get an update. We'll talk to Divish later today. That'll be released about 1 o'clock today as he is driving through the state of Montana today. So we'll talk to Divish. We'll get a health update on Polanco. We'll get an update on Garver. He will no doubt have some info on JP Crawford and what his status is. All right. And then we'll just continue to cover the Scottie Scheffler story, which I just can't get enough of. It's so damn funny. All right. Oh, Chris Egan also coming up today on the radio program. I said radio program. Man, that was a slip. I don't think I've ever said that before. That might be the second time I have slipped up and said that. He's coming up later today on the podcast. Again, like Davis, will be released at 1 o'clock today. All right, we finish up with Hey, What the Puck. We talked to you folks about this before the playoffs started. I told you this guy was going to be a superstar. Actually, I hate the I told you so. Okay, I just said, hey, if you haven't, that was so douchey what I just said. Can I retract that? I'm going to retract that statement. I hate that I told you crap. I love Anthony Edwards. And all I said was like a month ago, if you're not familiar with Anthony Edwards, just get familiar with him. It's not only that he's a great basketball player, but he is a funny SOB. And they forced game 7 yesterday by just beating the crap out of the Nuggets. I mean, just annihilated them. What was the 115-70? I've never seen a score like that in the NBA, not in the playoffs. And Anthony Edwards had this to say. He was asked a question in the postgame press conference about a message to a personnel person back in Denver for game 7.
Did you really tell the locker room staffer in Denver you were going to be back for
Hell
game
yeah. They know y'all was in there. Yeah, I told them. I said, I'll see y'all motherfuckers for game 7. Yeah.
I gotta love him. I just love him. He's so much fun. He's everything you want in an athlete. He really is. He's supremely good. He is young and vibrant, plays with a smile on his face, fun with the media, talks a little shit, in good nature. He's the damn near the perfect package of an NBA player. And I know he plays in Minnesota, but boy, the NBA could do just even more in marketing Anthony Edwards as just the next biggest superstar in this league. And the other thing I love about Anthony Edwards, and you can't say this about a lot of NBA guys, that dude, as hard as he plays on the offensive side, he plays equally or harder on the defensive side. And I guarantee, I know that all these comps to Jordan are unfair, but I bet you Michael Jordan, when he hears it, one thing that probably puts a smile on his face when he hears the comp, I mean, no one's going to be Jordan, all right? It's just, we have to always stop that comp, is he probably looks at Edwards and goes, that's fair, because he sees the effort that guy puts on both sides of the court. And that's something that he did. You always kind of forget that about Jordan, right? The fadeaways, the dunks, the offensive arsenal. That dude was like the best defender in the NBA. Like the best. Like on-ball defender. Would take you out. I remember Team USA when they played in the Olympics. Like he kind of took a secondary role of scoring and just said, just give me the team's other best player and I'll shut him down. And he did. Anthony Edwards has that. Game 7 coming up this weekend, and we'll see what happens. Just a weird series because they've been competitive, and then you thought almost that Minnesota was going to sweep them because they win the first 2 games. You have a 7-game series in which one team, Minnesota, has beat the crap out of the other team, who are the defending champions. So we'll see what the reaction for Denver will be, their Game 7 this weekend. The Mariners, I love you guys. I really do. Hey, What the Puck, and I really, really do. And your marketing team is great. And I know I'm going to hear from one of them or some of them when I say this, and they're going to get all mad. And trust me, this comes from a place of love. The Mariners are inviting expectant parents to take a swing at home plate after their game on Sunday, June 16th. It's a gender reveal thing. So they're going to get up there, you're going to swing, and then you're going to reveal, whether it's the smoke comes out blue or pink. Why our fan base? Why our team? Why do we have to do this? I know some of you are going to say it's just good nature and it's good fun. These are the dumbest videos that have ever been created. Ever. Just go to your doctor, find out what the sex is if you want, or I don't know, like we did with our second, you wait till you get to the delivery room and out pops out the kid and you're like, there you go. Don't worry about all the planning, new parents. You'll be fine. You'll figure it out. But gosh, Ems, you're my favorite baseball team. Can we just not be associated with this stuff, this gender reveal stuff? Can we just not be associated with it at all? Why do we have to dip our toes in this one? And again, I love everything you do from a marketing standpoint, most of it. The hot dogs coming from the sky, brilliant. The dancing groundskeepers, brilliant. Kids running around the bases on Sunday, brilliant. Bark at the park, brilliant. All of it. I can't think of, all of it's great. This is a swing and a miss. Swing and a miss. We don't need gender reveal bat night. Okay? We just don't need it. Lastly, on Hey, What the Puck, a positive one. And that wasn't so negative, but a positive one. Hey, good luck to the Ballard Beavers baseball team. Let's go Beavs. They're taking on Edmonds Woodway. Coming up on Saturday there in Bellevue. The winner will move on to the quarterfinals. It's a cool story. Ballard baseball team hasn't been to state. They're state now in, I think it's 23 years, 20 plus years, but I think the number's around 23. That's awesome. And then their girls softball team is already qualified to go to state, but they are in the districts right now trying to get to a district championship, but they're already qualified for state. It's a cool story. Most high schools are probably like this, but there's a number of kids that are on the softball team that have brothers that are on the baseball team. So parents having to double dip. But I'll say this about the girls softball team. You watch out for these girls. This is one badass group. This is a badass group of girls that are coming for you, and they're young. I mean, they got some juniors in there and a senior and some sophomores, but they got a lot of freshmen, and they are coming for you, and they're taking names. So you better watch out, softball world, here in the next few years, because it's going to be dominated by the Ballard Beavers. All right, that's it for the Daily Puck Drop, episode 103 in the books. Coming up later today, we have got episodes there with Chris Egan and Ryan Divish, which, of course, Divish always brought to you by Chalet Bowl, and Chris Egan brought to you by Fat Zach's Pizza. We'll talk to you on Monday for another edition of the Daily Puck Drop. Everyone have a wonderful weekend. Until then, we'll talk to you soon. As always, we promise to be better.
No shoes, no ties.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for? We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!